Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wassalam. Tonight we're going to begin a series on the story of the Prophet Yusuf. And the reason it's going to be a series instead of just a single talk is just simply because we can't encompass everything we need to say about this particular story within 30 minutes. It could be something to where yes, we could talk about it and we could be able to talk about a single point or 2 points or 3 points, but typically this particular story is done over the course of multiple nights. And we're going to use this as a series. And while we get started here, the first thing I want to say is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself called this Ahsan al-Qisas, the best of stories. And sometimes you'll find a series like this and you'll see it advertised using that name. We're not going to give it a name because, again, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself had given it a name, there's no need for us to give it a new name. And the reason it's the best of stories, the story of the Prophet Yusuf, alayhi salam, it's not because it's the longest or most dramatic, but because every single line we can find in it, we can find spiritual meaning, timeless lessons and emotions we all experience: hope, betrayal, longing, power, forgiveness, and divine purpose. And when we begin, we're going to begin not with an infant, like, we know the story of Musa being set off as an infant down the river. We're not going to start with a warrior or a king even, but a boy. And this boy, what we find out about him is that he has a dream that he goes to his father with. So we're going to read, because tonight we're going to cover the first 6 lines of this surah. So I'm just going to go ahead and read them in English for you. That way you can have them read and we won't keep repeating them. But it's Alif Lam Ra. These are the verses of the clear book. Indeed, we have sent it down as an Arabic Quran so that you may understand. We relate to you the best of stories. Through our revelation of this Quran, though before this you were totally unaware of them. When Yusuf said to his father, "O my dear father, indeed, I dreamt of 11 stars, and the sun and the moon, I saw them prostrating to me." He replied, "O my dear son, do not relate your vision to your brothers, or they will devise a plot against you. Surely, Shaitan is a sworn enemy to all humankind. And so your Lord chose you and teach you the interpretation of dreams and, perfect his favor upon you, the descendants of Yaqub, just as he once perfected it upon your forefathers, Ibrahim and Isaac. Surely your Lord is all-knowing, all-wise." So, beginning with that, we're going to now get into the actual story, what we're going to be talking about tonight. So, as you can see, the dream itself comes from when Yusuf alayhi salam says to his father, "Oh, my beloved father, indeed I saw 11 stars in the sun and the moon. I saw them prostrating to me." So right away, right, we're drawn into the heart of the story. A moment when this child and his father the child sees a dream, right? He's a boy. And it's not just any dream, right? 11 stars, the sun, the moon, all prostrating to him. Of course, his father is a prophet. So he goes to his father and says, "My dear father," he says this with love and reverence. This should tell you everything. He doesn't go up to him and be like, "Hey, man," or "You'll never guess what just happened to me." He's going up to him saying, "My dear father," right? This shows that love and reverence that he has. And it tells you what you need to know about their relationship. That this wasn't just a child reporting a fantasy, it was something else. And his father, Yaqub, the way alayhi salam, the way he responds, he says, "Oh, my son, do not relate the vision to your brothers, for they may plot against you. Indeed, Shaitan is to man a manifest enemy." Right? Look at this. His father is not looking at him and going, "Oh, it's just a dream. Tell everyone." He's actually telling him, warning him, don't share this with your brothers. Now, why? We'll go through this a little bit later, but as we all know that if his brothers come to know of this, they'll become jealous of what the dream means. The fact that he's been given this dream, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him this message, That's the signs of prophethood. So when we look at the layers in this one exchange between a father and a son, Yusuf is a child, but his dream is not dismissed. His father, a prophet, understands that some dreams are not just dreams. As the Prophet ﷺ said, the truthful dream is one part of 46 parts of prophethood. This is Sahih, it is in Sahih Bukhari. So Yaqub alayhi salam, he knew this, that this boy had been chosen, but he also knew the nature of the world and the nature of hearts. So he warns him, don't share your dream with your brothers. Now, let's be honest for a second. What do most kids do when they have something amazing to share, right? They want to tell everyone. And just as all of us do, right? If something amazing has happened in your life, you received a promotion at work, you got a good grade on a test, you just got a raise, you just bought a new house, our first instinct is tell everyone, post about it on social media, let everyone know just happened, right? But here's the lesson for us here, right? That sometimes not every blessing is meant to be public. Some things are safest when they're kept between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sometimes that silence is protection from what may come. Ibn al-Qayyim, rahimahullah, he tells us that success lies in concealing your blessings until they are secured, right? So figure he's a boy, he just received, as we saw in the hadith, that he received one part of 46 parts of prophethood. Imagine if he shares this with everyone and then someone kills him or something bad befalls him. The jealousy people have, right? You tell people I'm buying this house, someone else goes, "Ooh, that sounds like a good idea," and they go buy it right out from under you. Conceal your blessings until they're secure. Now, we have other interpretations of this. When we look at this, we can read from Ibn Kathir, rahimahullah, in his famous book, Al-Bidayah wal-Nihaya, right? So this is a book that it's one of the greatest works of history from the time of Adam alayhi salam all the way through the end of times, written by Ibn Kathir, rahimahullah. And we get a little more detail here. And I'm just going to give this to you. Remember, this is detail added by a scholar. He tells us that Yusuf's mother, Rahil, passed away when he was very young. So Yusuf and his brother, Binyamin, were especially close to their father. And that closeness, that emotional bond, became the spark of jealousy in the hearts of the older half-brothers. So imagine a house full of sons, all raised by a prophet, and still the shaitan found its way in. We see in the Quran later on in another verse, Yusuf and his brothers are more beloved. Yusuf and his brother are more beloved to our father than we. And we are a strong group. Surely our father is in clear error. They didn't just accuse their father of sin, they said he was mistaken, biased, favoring the young ones. And from that thought, envy began to grow. The Prophet ﷺ told us, beware of envy, for envy consumes good deeds like a fire consumes dry wood. This is in Abu Dawud. And even the sons of a prophet weren't immune. Now, you're going to notice when I mentioned Ibn Kathir, rahimahullah, in his work, he mentions the name of of Yusuf's full brother, right? This is coming from something we know as an Israeliyat, which is essentially saying use of the Old Testament to provide more detail, right? We obviously see here that Yusuf and his brother, his full brother, obviously, are more beloved than the other group. So that's why we're able to use this little statement we're getting from the Old Testament, because it's supported by the Quran and it doesn't contradict the Quran. So we're able to say, okay, supposedly he has this name. Here's an explanation from there, in case anyone was wondering where Ibn Kathir got that particular piece of information from. So how do we apply this today, right? So let's bring this to today, today's time. How many times has a dream died in someone's heart because they shared it with the wrong people? How many families, and just before you know families, think about this, right? How many times do you tell people what you're thinking about doing and the naysayers come? No, you shouldn't do that. That's not a good idea. Everyone has a reason why you shouldn't do something great, right? Your dream dies in your heart, doesn't go any further. People put roadblocks in your way to stop you just because you shared it with the wrong people. And how many families are torn apart? Not by war, but by favoritism, comparison, and jealousy, right? A parent favoring one kid over another for no reason. Comparison. Oh, but your brother doesn't get bad grades. Oh, but your sister's an A student. Why? There's no comparison between two people. Or the child. How come my brother got this and I didn't get it? How come my sister got this and I didn't get it? And then, of course, jealousy, being jealous of each other within the family, looking at your cousins, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, parents, grandparents, and being jealous of them. Why is my cousin so rich and we're so poor? So Yaqub alayhi salam, he didn't tell Yusuf alayhi salam to lie, right? He didn't say lie to your brothers. He told him to protect the dream. And in doing so, by telling him to protect it and not telling them, he taught us something really powerful. You don't owe your dream to everyone. Not everyone who hears it will support you, and not everyone who envies you will admit it. Now, what is that telling us, right? You don't owe your dream to everyone. You are under no obligation to share your ambitions, your dreams, your thoughts with everyone. In fact, doing that, sharing them with everyone is a disease of its own, where everything that comes to your mind, you want to tell people. Every dream you have, you want to tell people. It's something that protects it because it stops other people from being able to be a naysayer. It stops other people from being able to sabotage it. And it stops other people from envying, right? And that's why that last point there, that not everyone who envies you will admit it. You'll find people to your face, they're the most supportive person in the world, but they still envy you. And when we're talking about envy, there's the two kinds, right? There's the one kind of envy where the person just looks and wishes that they had that. And then there's the kind of envy, hasad, right? What is that? That's the kind of envy where you're saying, not just, I want that, but I want that, and this is the sinful kind. I want that to be taken away from them. This brother just bought a new car. I don't just like the fact, I don't just wish I had that car. I want him to not have the car anymore. I mean, what benefit does that do for you if your brother or sister doesn't have something good? Nothing. It does nothing good for you. But there are people who will wish that upon each other. Now, that middle point we had, not everyone who hears your dreams will support you. I'm sure all of us, most of us, we're mostly adults. We know that when we talk about our dreams with people, not everyone is jumping for joy. Not everyone is happy for us. Many people will try to tear your dream down because in their mind, they wish they had it. They wish they had thought of it. Or even if they have thought of it, many times they wish they could do what you do. They wish they could do it, and they know they can't. They have no ability to do it, so they try to sabotage your ability because to them, they can't stand someone else getting anything good in this world. So when we're summing up what this is, this protecting the dream, again, we're not saying to lie to people. Yaqub did not tell Yusuf to lie. He told him not to tell them, to protect it. And as we go through this story, you're going to see more and more why that is exactly. Now, some things for us to reflect on. How many times have any of you shared something special? A success, a gift, or a goal, and somehow all of a sudden what you had goes away. That success you thought you had, you lose your job. You don't get the house you want. Some disaster befalls you. You lose something. How many times have we done that? Just, we're not out, this is rhetorical, of course. Just think about that for a second. The next one, have I ever felt envy, even towards someone that I love? Did I confront it or did I feed it? So I'll give a little context on this question. How many of us have envied someone they love? Brother, sister, husband, wife, friend, whoever it is, you envied something that they had, right? And when you recognized that you envied it, did you confront it and go, A'udhu billah, protect, oh Allah, I seek refuge in you from envy? Or did you feed it? Did you go, yeah, I should be envious. Or, yeah, I wish I did have that. Why don't I have that? Or, oh, I wish I would get that instead of them, regardless of what it was. Have you ever had that happen? Have you ever done that? And the third reflection point we have, how do I handle it when someone close to me seems to be favored? A sibling, a coworker, or a friend, right? And we don't know why people favor people, right? You figure Yaqub, he's a prophet, he knows Yusuf is a prophet. This is something that it's clear he has an idea of this based on what he's seeing. So the question here isn't, in his case, why is he, kind of telling this son this? Why is he so close to him? But when we look at it, how do we do? How, like if we were Yusuf's brothers, right? How would we confront the fact that our brother is likely going to be a prophet and we're not? Like our father, who's a prophet. How do you confront it when your parents, for instance, have property and they divide it up in a way you find to be unfair? They give more to one, less to another. Something like treats, attention, literally anything that you can think of where you felt your parents were being unfair to you. Your sibling was being unfair to you. Maybe they're hogging the game console for too long if you play video games, or they're reading a book that you want to read and they're not letting you read it because they're reading it. And they're not reading it. They're just taking their time, being unfair with you, right? Going to work. You see someone getting a promotion, constantly getting praised, bigger raises than you. How do you feel about that? Are you like, oh, I'm happy for them that they're getting these blessings or perceived blessings? Because as we know, wealth and these promotions and responsibility could actually be a curse. Or are you looking at that and going, how dare they get that? How dare my boss give it to them instead of me? Or I wish they'd give it to me and take it away from them. Or even if you don't get it, right? Because we all know, even in our heart, that we're not just going to get things because it gets taken away from someone else. But have you sat there and thought, I just wish it would get taken away from them, even if I myself am not going to get it? So we have to think about that, including thinking about it with our friends, because a lot of times we make these mistakes. We make a mistake and we do that. Your friend gets to go on Hajj and you didn't. How do you react to that? Are you the kind of person that's going to be like, mashallah, Allahumma barak, I'm so glad this friend of mine is getting to go on Hajj, such a blessing for them. I'm happy for them and I like that for them. Inshallah, one day I'll get to go. Or are you the kind of person that says, I wish I could go now? I really envy them. Even if you don't say envy, but you know what I mean? You feel the emotion of envy. Friend gets a new car. And remember, you don't know what goes on in people's lives as well. Stepping away from the story of Yusuf, alayhi salam, sometimes we look at someone and we envy what they have, but one, we don't know what they had to do to get it. And two, we don't know the kinds of problems that they have in their life because of it. Sometimes you see people, they have a nice house, nice car, you think they have a nice marriage, but you don't know all the stuff that's going on in that house. Maybe their kids are sick, whereas yours have health. Maybe the spouses argue all the time. Maybe there's adultery going on. Maybe there's all kinds of problems that maybe they have terrible relationships with their parents, whereas you have a good relationship with your parents. Maybe they're drowning in debt and riba, whereas you don't have any. So we can't envy people because of that. Because one, it's a sin to envy. And two, you don't even know what you're envying. You might say to yourself, I want what they have, but you don't really know what they have. Just like with Yusuf, alayhi salam, his brothers obviously envy him because of his father's favors. But do they really want the burdens of prophethood? And as we get through the rest of Yusuf's story, you'll see that most of us wouldn't want that burden. They might envy the attention he's getting, but they certainly aren't understanding the things he has to go through, the trials he goes through because of them. So we'll close tonight with a short dua. Oh Allah, purify our hearts from envy, open the doors of contentment, bless us in our dreams, and guide us in how to protect them. So next week, we're going to continue following Yusuf alayhi salam's story to his first great test, the betrayal. What did his brothers do? How did a young boy survive in the place that they ended up putting him? And which I'm sure we all know as well. And what does it teach us about trusting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even when everyone turns against you? And that's what we'll be covering next week. Jazakallah khair for attending. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.